Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the I Am CDB project. I'm your host, CDB. You are not. And we're going to continue on with the head shave, where I just rap about a few things. We're going to try the Ariana and Evans shave serum, which we used earlier for the face. Did a good job. So spoiler there. Let's just slap some water in the dome, and then we'll lather it up. I wanted to touch on a couple of things during this video, or at least one subject in particular, because I do that a lot during these head shave videos where I'm just sort of got to shave my head anyway, so I might as well do a little content while doing so. But anyway, let me add a little more product here so I can get some lather, because I just did a full shave, so we'll add some more. And anyhow, there we go. Recently, Dave Chappelle put out a comedy special, which, in the interest of full disclosure, I have not seen yet, but I am a Dave Chappelle fan. I like his comedy. He's one of the better comedians in terms of stand-up in recent years, as far as I'm concerned. I also like a lot Ricky Gervais, and I'm going to sort of explain why. And I've noticed some other people have also had similar thoughts, and so it just sort of reminded me to speak on this. The one thing I wanted to mention about Chappelle is his special, which I haven't seen, but it is queued up to see on Netflix. Right now, in the Rotten Tomatoes rating, it has like 16 or 19% critic score and 99% audience score. So people like you and I who aren't critics. And the thing that people are pointing out is the regular folks, who aren't paid critics and who tend perhaps not to overthink things or looking to achieve certain, political points of view or whatever. They just want comedy. And so they're liking his show. And it's said to be chock full of inappropriate comedy, which basically targets every race, every group, and so forth, in terms of comedy. And I'm like, great. He makes fun of everybody, is my understanding, based on the reports that I've heard. And isn't that what comedy has always been, really? Taking stereotypes and expanding on them. And it makes things funny when there's a thread of truth. Perhaps it's not entirely on the level, but you're familiar with it, and so it's funny. But anyway, it's interesting that the critics think so little of it, but the audience loves it. And so I don't think that's unusual. A lot of times when I go to Rotten Tomatoes, I discount the critic score entirely, because I just want to know what regular people who are going for entertainment think. I don't want somebody to be breaking it down and looking for how it influences society. And I just want to be entertained by, sports and movies and, comedy specials. So I want them to be in the tradition of George Carlin and Richard Pryor and, people who just sort of let it fly and were true innovators, and not beholden to all this, political correctness to the crazy degrees. And so a lot of people seem to think that this comedy special, the critics don't like it because it's not woke enough, but everybody else loves it because it's just like, hey man, it's comedy. And I'm so glad that there are people like Dave Chappelle and also Ricky Gervais, who's another comedian and actor, who are willing to continue to do old school type comedy, and willing to, step to and over the line as it applies to this politically correct stuff. And they're not out to hurt people, but they're out to just make light of just about everything. That's what comedy is, and you don't have to like it all, but it's comedy. And when we start, suppressing their ability to do their job, there won't be any more comedy. We'll be in 1984 where everybody's, like little robots running around, all supposedly thinking the same thing and doing the same thing. And, that's not, I think, where we want to be. So for my money, or I will watch that special. And I will, I'm sure, enjoy the special. And I hope you will too. I hope you will support people like Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais, who, speak their mind and who are advocates of free speech and are sort of against this cancel culture and all this foolishness that we're seeing right now, where nobody, it's like we have to walk around on tiptoes worrying about what might offend the next person. And I'm not talking about being deliberately offensive. I think you know what I mean. Whereas to say you could say anything and someone's offended, and you're not being provocative, but they're offended by the fact that you said anything. And we just can't continue on this way in these, bubbles where people are just like, oh, you presumed that I'm this or that. And I'm like, if it's nothing negative, I mean, everybody's getting offended. Use the wrong pronouns. It's just too much. And so I hope you will support these people who are pushing back, especially because a lot of these celebrities, quite frankly, are unwilling to do so. They may share some of the same thoughts. And by the way, there's a lot of residual slickness in this product because I've been the lather is long gone and I'm just still touching up and touching up and touching up. So that's a testament to the quality of the product there in terms of slickness, at least. But anyway, I hope you'll support the folks who are advocates of free speech. And I realize sometimes folks in other parts of the world who watch these videos have a different point of view. They find our style of living and the things that happen to be barbaric and all that. This is who we are. And sometimes it's not great, but most of the time it is. And so we have to take the things that aren't so great with the things that are great, and we enjoy our liberties. And most of them, and especially me, want to continue enjoying our liberties. We don't want to be told what to think. And in fact, me, as I've said before, I want to know when people have these thoughts. When you exclude people because they believe a certain thing, they just go underground and they find like-minded individuals and they stay amongst themselves, and then eventually they surface and do something very bad. Wouldn't you prefer to know who these people are? Let them speak, even if it's hateful and hurtful. I'm not an advocate of expressing hateful things towards people, but I am an advocate of free speech. And sometimes the things that people say are hateful, but I would rather know who those people are than not. And that's sort of my perspective. Wouldn't you rather know? And so sometimes I realize, our culture, vastly different from other places where it's more controlled and maybe there are more protections in place. We're, our own type of folks, and we just enjoy our liberties. It doesn't make sense to a lot of places, and I understand that, but this is the way we like it. I think I speak for most of us, but certainly not all. And again, I ask you, please support those folks who are advocates of free speech and liberties. Anyway, that's all I have. It was a great shave. I used the Harry's, as you saw there. And I just want to say thank you, as always, for following. You can, in the description below, there are links for Minds, which is a social media network, Facebook, Twitter. You can, follow me on those. As always, if you want to communicate with me, send an email, cdb@imcdb.com. Thanks as always for watching. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB. You are not. God bless.